This is Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined over Zoom by former Cruiserweight World Champion, Sky Sports' very own Johnny Nelson. 3 years since that brilliant night at Wembley, Anthony Joshua and Klitschko, and also 20 years since Lennox Lewis and Michael Grant fought at Madison Square Garden. What do you sort of remember from those particular nights?
Unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember them both well. Lennox Lewis never got the credit he deserved when he actually fought. It wasn't until after he fought and people actually realised how good he was. Lennox Lewis, the people he boxed, the people he beat, we're not, you know, of course you're going to get the odd soft touch, but eventually he boxed the best that were out there because he was stuck in between. Whereas, is he a Brit, is he a Canadian, is he American? Who's accepting him? Is he no man's land? But Lennox, looking back at it now, you think, you know what, that guy could fight. You know, you can remember him coming through, trying through the ranks, even at domestic level, beating Gary Mason, then beating Frank Brewer, and then boom, straight on the scene. Remember his knockout of Razor Ruddock, and I thought Razor Ruddock was a dangerous man, and Lennox got the job done. The 2 times he lost were through mistakes of himself. He made mistakes, but he came back and fixed those mistakes. For Anthony Joshua, it was his day of reckoning. It was unprecedented times. 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium for a guy in his 19th professional fight, I think it was, to go in there and do what he did under such pressure, such scrutiny, such attention, it was risk reward, and timing was everything. So you've got to give it to AJ, his team, his promoter, for making sure that fight happened there and then. It was very, very. It was a big gamble, and the gamble paid off.
I mean, as boxing fans, we love to fantasize between different eras. We put out a post earlier about sort of, you know, who would win prime versus prime. A lot of people thought Lennox Lewis. Is there an argument that Anthony Joshua could have beaten Lennox in his prime?
No, and I'm a big fan of both fighters. I think Lennox Lewis was. And remember, Anthony Joshua's not been boxing. He only started boxing at the end of 18. You know, so for what he's achieved in this space of time, Anthony Joshua has done amazingly well in such a short space of time. Comparing that to anybody else, he'd be head and shoulders. But Lennox Lewis, he had it ingrained in him from a youth coming through. So he had his ring craftsmanship. He had that even from a domestic level. Anthony Joshua was an amazing athlete. Now all of a sudden he started using his ring craftsmanship as a pro. We saw that in his rematch against Andy Ruiz. But I'd actually think in the day I'd side with Lennox Lewis to pull it off.
On to the current scene at the moment. There's still been a few developments even during sort of this lockdown period. It's been quite interesting. Starting with when we heard that Deontay Wilder's having bicep surgery after his fight with Tyson Fury, and Dillian Whyte has called him out to face him next. A lot of people talk about the undisputed fight. Where do you sort of see the whole situation at the present time?
With the heavyweights?
Yeah.
I think Dillian Whyte has probably had the roughest, the hardest crack out of all of them, because he's just been ignored. He's not being given his fair share, his fair crack. I think with Deontay Wilder, why have another fight? He got beat up, knocked out against Tyson Fury, but you know he's now put himself in a position where even if he doesn't fight Tyson Fury next, he's contractually obligated. Tyson Fury is contractually obligated to fight him, so he still puts himself in a lucrative position. I don't think the result would be much different than the second one. Like Tyson Fury's beaten him twice. He only officially got the result once. But Deontay Wilder, you know, it's show business, and this is the business side of it. Regardless if he's going to get another beating, I actually think to myself, I think it's now a time that we've got 3 Brits that can be top of the tree and pull it off.
I mean, what do you see as the most likely fight to happen this year? Eddie Hearn is talking about Joshua and Fury. There's talk of obviously Whyte and Fury, Whyte and Wilder, obviously, but Wilder and Fury. Again, where do you sort of see it?
Well, this is again the more realistic one of happening. Now, the peer pressure would be Joshua and Fury. What could happen in regards to someone that's in a position to do that? Dillian Whyte's in a great position to box anybody without being tied to anybody. But it's a case of what they want. It's a case of what the public want, what the TV companies want, what they're willing to do. But again, these are precedenting times where how will they look at it? How will Tyson Fury look at it? How will Anthony Joshua look at it? Will they look at Dillian Whyte and think risk reward doesn't pay off? So he might have to still wait by the wayside, and that's why he started this little social media war with Andy Ruiz. And he gets into Andy Ruiz and beats him, then he can't be ignored because Andy Ruiz, created a big shock this year.
Just sticking on Anthony Joshua, I saw that Sky released sort of the top 10 gloves are off moments, and a teaser was obviously that Anthony Joshua and Jarrell Miller gloves are off, which has never been released yet, as of yet. What insight, if any, can you tell us of what sort of went down that gloves are off? What insight could you give us?
I think if they ever show it, we'll see a side to Anthony Joshua where people will think, wow. Now, Anthony Joshua, he's ticked all the boxes, done it all right. Commercially, he's a PR. He's exactly what you'd want. He says all the right things, looks the right thing, gets the right results. He's a PR's dream. Seeing that, you'll see Anthony Joshua has that rough edge to him, and he'll bring it out because the things that were said all across that table, the insults that were thrown to each other, the atmosphere that was created between the both of them, not just Jarrell Miller. I'd never seen Anthony Joshua act like that on camera, but he did, and I have lobbied and said, look, let's try and get this. See if can we get this out. For one reason or another, it's not out there, but even a little bit of it. But you never know. They might do it one day just to tease the public. But they've got a lot of stuff that sat there in the vault that could really seep out. So it depends on how long this lockdown goes on for.